So how this shipping works?
Almost 90 to 95% of the contracts of export and import are for the ocean freight.
What is the form of LCL?
Yeah, LCL means less than container load.
So what are the major paperwork which you have to do for doing the export or maybe import?
Processes which used to take a week's time or 2 weeks time can be done within a day.
How you make sure everything going in line and things are getting at their destination?
So inbound, if you see, India still, I would say 60% is from China.
What are the tech you are using in your organization? So
uh,
hello everyone. We are once again with one more podcast. So today we have Mr. Naveen. He is director in global logistics and he have more than 27 years experience in logistics and supply chain. So today we are going to know that what he is doing, how this company is working. So welcome, sir.
Hi, thank you, Pratik. Thanks a lot for taking time out and for this program. Yeah.
Yeah. So very first question, why you started this company? What was the reason behind this?
Okay, the reason was basically that we had already worked in the industry in front end sales for 10 years. And myself and my two colleagues, Asif and Jis, they were in Mumbai with the same organization. In 2005, the organization went public listed. And I mean, the market was good, and we were young, and we were willing to take a risk, I would say, but very calculated and perceived risk. And we had the clientele support, and there was definitely a gap where we thought that we could fill it up. So I mean, it was not a very difficult decision, just enthusiasm to do something on our own, and we were doing something that we already know. So I mean, that way it was very comfortable decision to make. Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask some silly questions, just like a guy
Yeah.
who
So
don't know anything about shipping, right? So how this shipping works? Like if anyone have something to send out of India or something like that, so what things he have to do? How they can connect you? What procedure you do? What kind of documentation need? If you can little bit explain in deep.
I mean, sure. See, as long as ocean freight business is concerned, with connection to Indian exporters and importers, I would say it two-way, right? So you want to import something into India, you want to export something out of India. So if you see globally, almost 90 to 95% of the contracts of export and import are for the ocean freight. Nobody would straight away go and say, I want a particular commodity by air, because the cost is so high by air compared to the ocean. Definitely, certain goods have to be moved by air. For example, some temperature-controlled pharmaceuticals or some very expensive, high price or commodities which cannot be off the shelf for very long time. So you can say around 90-95% of commodities are moved by ocean. So that way, it's important for any exporter and importer to understand the ocean freight logistics, how it works. So an exporter who's having a very small commodity, a quantity of commodity, he would be moving by LCL mode. Basically, he will not be needing the full container to move the commodity. He would need a part of the container. So basically, whatever you're using the part of the container, you would be paying only for that. For example, you have
What is the form of LCL?
yeah, LCL means less than container load.
Okay.
Basically, you don't need a full container load, so you need a less than container load. So, of course, obviously, full container load is FCL. So, if for example, if any customer is having like 24 tons of cargo, so obviously he'll be needing the full container to load a 20-foot container. But if he has only 1.5 tons, why should he pay for the balance 22.5 tons? Correct. So, for example, you want to send from say Nhava Sheva to Singapore. So you just pay for 1.5 tons, and there are companies which is called LCL consolidators, like our company and 32 other more in Nhava Sheva, who would be willing to carry a commodity only for what you need to be. And similarly, if anybody want to import, for example, there's so many imports happening from all over the world, Europe, US, China. So if you importing in a smaller quantity from any port in the world, you can order, you can only pay for the how much ever your cargo is covering the space in the container. So now the business has evolved a lot. Earlier, we used to work only in a hub and spoke mechanism. Basically, all the LCL cargo would go from India to Singapore or to Jebel Ali or to Hamburg. or to Rotterdam. From there, it will be reworked and sent to different parts of the world. Again, they do the LCL consolidation to the final destination. Over a period of time, Indian trade has increased a lot, so that now we are having more than I would say active 45 to 50 destinations which we can connect directly. So, including remotest destination Africa, like you can do direct consolidation to Port Louis, you can do direct consolidation to Tima, Ghana from India, you can do consolidation to any South American, Latin American ports. Like you can go directly to Chile, you can go directly to Mexico, directly to Veracruz. So, I mean, these kind of services were not available earlier. Similarly, inbound also we have direct services from Turkey. Earlier it was all via transshipment via Jebel Ali and via Colombo. So now Indian trade has increased. So the customers can get a good benefit. And if they want to be an exporter and importer, they need not worry that, oh, I'm getting an order from a very remote part of the world. How am I going to ship it? So that thing has been solved a lot by the Indian logistics community for the customers. Similarly, anything you want to import from any part of the world, I mean, you just can go ahead and give the order or take the order, and we are here to serve them. So most of the shipping lines, and there are also some marketplace platforms which give you a lot of information online how to move your full containers as well. So you just
Mm,
go, just like your Make My Trip, you just go there and put your port of loading, port of destination, and which particular week you want to the schedule for. You will get a schedule along with the rates also.
mm,
So you can go there, you can search for your rates, you can search for the transit time, you can search which shipping line is serving. And depending on you, whether you want to book with them or not, but you can always come back to us and say, okay, I found out myself that there is a particular shipping line which carries a cargo for this particular port to another port at this particular rate. I do not know how to make the booking, but would you be my booking agent for doing that? So, for example, when we travel domestically, we feel comfortable. Okay, I'll do everything myself. Internationally, okay, certain places that you travel yourself by yourself, then you can want to make booking by yourself. But you went to new destination, you're not very sure about what are the visa requirements, what is the other documentation requirements, how I have to be more careful, how much currency can I really carry. All these things we do not know. So you don't want to take a chance, but you find out that okay, this particular airline goes there, this is the destination that I would like to be there. This is a hotel I want to stay, and this is where I want to, spend my holiday with my family. But you're not very clear about the intricacies. Should I take a cab or should I book a travel agent? Things like that. So those are the things that we help you out with as
mm.
an export and importer. So you can do your own discovery wherever you find that okay, I need a professional support. Then Indian logistic community, they help out the customers for both importers and exporters. So I think I was able to explain to you in a very layman term. That's why you wanted me to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I have a follow-up question also. So you mentioned
Yeah.
about the paperwork and documentation, and we all
Right.
know there are so many paperworks required in this kind of custom clearance and all, right?
Right.
So what are the major paperwork which you have to do for, doing the export or maybe import?
So first of all, whichever commodity that you pick up and whichever destination or the country that you're going to deal with, every commodity in any part of the world is coming under the HS code, and it has different duty structures. And every country which is exporting to another third country, they have to see whether you have a free trade agreement or not, or whether that particular country's export from that country to A country to B country will be come under some kind of extra tariffs, because you know how the trades are protected and promoted by the different countries, basically based on the bilateral relationship that they have between each other. So these two things are very, very important. And thirdly, how the payment is going to happen. For example, if you got a very good order at a very good margin, for example, say from Iran or from Russia, how would you do the payment transaction? What are the channels? So what are the authorized channels, I would say? So these are the things the customer may not know. Okay, but and certain countries like Africa, even before the pre-shipment, the bill of lading and the trade document has to be approved by the particular trade commission based in India from that particular African nation. So unless you get that certificate of origin from them or approved, then you cannot export the commodity, because after exporting, then your shipment is stuck there. So yeah, there is these are the three things that you must be very, very cautious about. First of all, the commodity that you're exporting out of India, is it allowed to be imported in the particular B country? Number two is that if so, are there any extra duty tariffs, or you going to get a duty benefit? I mean, benefit. I mean, it's going to be a free trade. Going to get a benefit. Thirdly, before I send the shipment, what are the documentation to be done so that my buyer doesn't face any problems? Because if you're sending to a country where you're not aware of how the procedure works, in all my experience, the terms will be CIF. That means cost, insurance, and freight at the cost of the exporter. That means the Indian exporter. So all the liabilities of Indian exporter, even if the commodity is there, and the buyer says, okay, I don't want this commodity because I'm facing issues in custom clearances. I don't want it. So who's the loser? The exporter is the loser. So similarly, they have to approach the ECGC so that their risks are liabilities are reduced. So I mean, the process is very well set among the nation that we are already doing a trade for a long time, where the volumes are bigger. So we are aware of that. Something that new that you want to do, obviously you get a huge premium because nobody's exporting that, and your
Hmm.
commodity is needed there. That's where you don't get too or is carried away by the margins, but lose away on the documentation part of it. Similarly, when you're importing from any country, you also must be aware that whether Indian government or Indian customs would allow you to import this particular commodity freely, or if so, what are the documentation and declaration that you must be having in place to import it. So if you are already if you're importing something, you can do search online whether this particular commodity is being freely imported in India, what is the quantum of import. Then you can know that okay, our customs is, or Indian government is allowing this commodity to be imported regularly, so there's no issues. But if you see that certain commodity in HS code is not very common, then I think I must take an expert guidance on that. So yeah, so of course, if I go to documentation, the list is huge, and there are various people and departments who are experienced in handling it. But to be very frank, over a period of couple of, I can say, a decade or more, the most of the things are systemized and online.
Hmm.
Uh, the processes which used to take a week's time or 2 weeks time can be done within a day. So yeah, so and most of the things are interlinked.
Hmm.
For example, your PAN card is interlinked to your that way, the due diligence by the government to give you, or rather to authorize you to import and export, or to do you open a bank account is very fast because it's on the common platform of most of the agencies. So better to go with an expert for the first few consignments, then you can learn, and probably depending on your time that you can give into that. Because I would say that any exporter, importer, or manufacturer, if they focus on their activity more of finding new buyers,
Hmm.
or making the product better for the market, I think they would be doing much better rather than somebody who's going to focus on logistics and try to save $1 here. Might as well put the similar energy in finding a new buyer. So yeah, so you can leave it to us. I mean, we are not very expensive, or that we're taking away to margins and things like that. So I mean, I've seen organizations who have focused solely on increasing their footprint in the global world by looking for new buyers and making the product better, rather than somebody focusing more of the time and reducing logistic cost.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys always there to help them out, and you are the expert in this, and you will be the perfect person. So these company can, focus on their work and all those things.
Exactly.
So you also talk about the interlink things, right? So as per my knowledge, containers owned by someone else, ports owned by governments, vessels owned by someone else, right? Again, where there will be, some ports where you are doing departing and then again sending somewhere else, right? How
Right.
you communicate, how you talk to each other, how you make sure everything going in line and things getting at their destination.
Yeah, so see, basically they're asset owners. You say for warehousing, for the port, for the shipping lines. So they have bigger things to worry about. I mean, so what they do is that they appoint like sales agencies, or they have the agents, and so either they appoint somebody, or you want to become their sales agent. For example, I would say that any big FMGC company, like for example Coca-Cola, okay, they manufacture Coke. Okay, of course they have their own distribution system, but every restaurant or every small shop would like to keep their stock. because there are
Hmm.
customers, walk-in customers who would be needing that particular drink. So you cannot wait for them to come to your shop and say, okay, I want to appoint you as my agent. It may not be, because they already have the set and established distributors. Okay. Now, this is how the logistic community work. We all are either already appointed by them as by the asset owners as their selling agents or GSAs or booking agents. If not, I need to approach them and say that, hey, you know what, I want to sell your product. Okay, can you authorize me to do that? Okay, so for example, in IATA, in any air cargo business. First of all, a freight forwarder approach, he gets an IATA certification. Once you get IATA certification, you have to approach airlines and you say that I want to keep your airline stock, because I would be meeting customers who may have shipment to, say, China, so I will need Cathay Pacific, so I may need shipment to USA, so United Airlines. So things like this. So they approach the airline and they say that I want to keep your airline stock with me, and I would be catering to my customers.
Hmm.
So that's how our job is. So when we go to all the asset owners and we say that, okay, we are going to sell your product. So there is a commitment from our side also to keep the customers aware of various options. So
Hmm.
as a freight forwarding community, as a logistic community, we are the linking factor between all these various aspects. So every shipment might be going through a couple of multimodal processes. For example, it may go by truck, then it can go by ship. Again, you have to use the truck, and and you may have to use the warehousing also. So we integrate all these things and we keep it in a common platform. So I would say it's more of a knowledge at this moment of time. But when you're talking about how do we coordinate with each other, I think it's coming more of the tech point of view, that how do we communicate between them. Yeah, obviously things are working in a very traditional manner to bring it under one tech platform where things happen seamlessly. People are working on that. I mean, even the government agency is working on that. So we have something called the port community services by the government itself, where the system is being created by the government, where all the stakeholders in the logistic business, including the shipping line, the port terminal, customs agents, customs house agents, and truckers or logistics companies, including LCL consolidators, all of them come to the common platform, so that with the help of blockchain, they're able to reduce the transaction time. So that is on the process. But as long as the contractual agreement between you, with the consolidator and the asset owner is concerned, is individual. So only process can be linked by coming on a common platform. But end of the day, it's about more about negotiations, relationship, buying from each and every asset owner depends on your personal relationship with the asset owner. So that benefit is passed on to the customer directly. So every shipping line has a rates online, but if you see that why some forwarders are able to book more cargo for a particular destination from a particular origin, because they have better relationship. So
Hmm.
it still works, because all said and done, the big asset owners would like to deal with as less people as need.
Possible, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, possible, because on a ship, for example, okay, now ships are becoming bigger, but if you say a 8,000 TEU ship, if I would say that 50 people are able to fill the ship for for the asset owner, I mean, he'll be happy rather than dealing with 500 people.
Hmm.
So that's how the things operate with the asset owners. Yeah.
So I also like to know one more thing, sir. What are the tech you are using in your organization, right? Whether it's a finance side, whether it's from a tracking side of visuals, whether it's in a communication side.
So as long as tech is concerned, we when we started the new organization, one of the colleagues who was working on the tech in the previous company, he came along with us, the reason that the previous company went for a established vendor. But before that, they were experimenting to do something on their own for a couple of years. So he had the domain expertise. So we built everything from scratch. And being in sales, user interface was much higher compared to the management in the previous organization. So we were able to give more feedback to the tech development team. And of course, the MIS became is an important part of the software that we have. But I think the more importantly, it is about the users, And secondly, we were at that point of time, we were using lot of technology which was available free and cheap rather than what on subscribing for the big tech companies, or big software companies. So we try to do everything on our own. That made the working little difficult for the team, because they are used to big names where they already work, the platforms which they already work. So it's very easy and convenient. But here everybody had to work together with all these challenges of budget that we had. But over a period of time, everybody learned it how to do it. We have, I mean, you can say off the shelf, whatever any tech company offers to their customers about your track and trace, about your EBL. We started EBL a pretty long time back. And I would say that very proudly, I would say that our company was the first company to launch a mobile app in our whole industry. I'm talking about that into 14 years ago. Of course, even today, I do not have much of downloads or subscribers in the mobile app, because it's another app basically. So, but it's there. I mean, with so many apps around us, we don't want to download one more app. So, obviously, in a B2B kind of a scenario, it's important that we have the information available 24/7 through various modes, either through IVR or by logging in, tracking and tracing, or you give me a call at 2 a.m. and wake me up and ask me where my shipment is. I'll just look at my phone and tell you where it is. But in a B2B model, even though every milestone can be tracked by their system, the customer is not really bothered about it. How it really works is that even if I get a WhatsApp message from my customer, or get a phone call, Naveen, I want to book 3 containers to say New York. This is the commodity and this is the weight and this is the shipment going to get ready this day, and just stuff it for me. And this, so I just send him a message on WhatsApp and like, boss, is it okay? Yeah, okay, go ahead. Now for them, after loading the consignment, they don't even call us. They don't even track it. It is assumed that since I have taken the shipment, it will be delivered.
Mm.
So this is the traditional way of doing business for I don't know how long. Even it
Mm.
is not even changed today also. So if you can tell a customer, sir, I have, you can track 40 milestones of your shipment, from the commodity being ready in your factory. Sir, I'm not bothered, because that's what I'm doing. If something happens in destination, I would know from a buyer that, release my consignment, or, my consignment stuck. I will get to know instantly. Who's waiting
Mm.
nowadays for 2-3 days to notify the supplier that something is wrong with the shipment? The moment shipment is arrived USA, it must be cleared, it must be going to the destination. If not, within a minute, and if we are on phone 24/7. So they do not want this unnecessary information. So when we used to have a auto trigger of reports to the customer, they said, please don't send us. You don't have time to go through all these things. If you want something, I'll go to your system and check it. If I don't have patience for that, I'll give you a call and check it. So that's how the industry is working. And of course, certain ways of doing it. For example, how we started doing is that uh, we stopped taking phone calls for certain customers for very basic inquiries and inbound shipments are coming. IGM has been filed, what is the date and all these things. So everything is online. So you have to make a practice, because I would say on a desk to desk level, when people are calling, I think it's disturbing the flow. So it's my responsibility to go to and explain to the owners of the companies. So your particular desk operations is calling to get information wherein it's available online. Can they not just open the login and check, or check that mail? Just go search global logistics or search the BL number. You will find the email already, it's already come in. So you don't have to call us and check. So those are the small things that we personally had to go and educate to the teams of our clients. and they get it. After that, the number of calls it reduces. So
Interesting. Which are the major countries where we are doing the export, and which are the country where we are doing the import?
so inbound, if you see, India is still, I would say 60% is from China. Yeah, so it's a huge amount because they really, yeah.
Even after government putting so many restriction and doing so many ban, and still we are exporting 60%.
Yeah, see, globally, people are having China plus one policy. That means that they would like to work with any other country other than China for that particular requirement. But they have taken a lead of so many years in, at least in terms of manufacturing, in terms of supplying components, in terms of supplying raw materials, engineering technology. They're pretty ahead. So to create an alternative, it may not be a very easy option in number of in the matter of, to be very frank, in the matter of pricing, as well as the matter of quantity and the speed that which they deliver.
Hmm.
There are companies, say fabric companies in India, which they can get a fabric printed in, say, South India and sent to, say, Surat, and again sent to Bombay for stitching. The time taken by our manufacturers would be much higher than compared to getting it directly from China.
Hmm.
So basically, the essence is not about cost alone, but the quantity and the time that you take, which China is able to deliver to any customer at any given point of time. So yeah, government might come up with some kind of extra tariffs and things like that, but they still beat it up because they're so competitive. So we could not find much alternative other than that. But yeah, of course, we do import a lot of engineering goods from Europe, especially Germany is number one, number two rather, after China. And USA is of course number one because of the currency value, so you can say in terms of value, but the quantum wise, I think Germany and Italy we import from a lot. India, of course, want to export. So basically, we are still, a lot of exports are agro and raw material, or minerals, so something like that that we export a lot. But some commodities like garments, these are made ups and all. They get exported to Europe and USA. So exporting wise, yeah, trading community is more on the Europe and USA, that we get a higher value for exports. Inbound wise, we still China, Vietnam, Thailand. That's where we depending on. But one thing we also have to understand, that India has become a manufacturing hub for various multinational brands. Let it
Hmm.
be automobile, let it be any generator company, engineering, anything you can say. So, but these companies have already established their OEMs in China, Thailand, and other countries. So it's easier for them to coordinate from the Chinese supplier who was, say, sending to their factories in Europe, where they used to manufacture earlier, but they shifted their plant into India. It's easier for them to get it from the Chinese manufacturer to India, or the Thai manufacturer to India, and send it across. So that's why I think our dependence on them would be still on the higher side.
And that's an interesting fact which you mentioned. Lots of people talking about export, import, banning products, and don't use this country product or something like that. But still, we cannot leave because that is a dependency which entire globe has created on one country or something like that.
Exactly,
That,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the one thing which you like to change in this industry after working 27 years in this entire industry?
I mean, to very frank, nothing. Think,
So everything is fine.
yeah, things are going so well. When things are going well, why you want to change?
Hmm.
I would say that there's nothing called one thing. Everything evolves by itself, and sometimes you're aware of it, sometimes you're not aware of it, but you pick up that habit and you go with the flow. For example, if you would ask me before that, would I be using LinkedIn? Would I be using Facebook? Would I be using WhatsApp? I would definitely say no, because what do I gain from it? Nothing, because it nothing to do with my work. But today there's so much of interlinking with the social media and stuff like that. You just can't stay away from that, because especially when you thinking about your business, right? So these things have changed our business, how we do business. You have Facebook communities where business is happening. You have LinkedIn connections where business is happening. Okay, you have WhatsApp communities where business is happening. So these are the changes that we were not even aware of. So I would say that anything which drastically changes in the industry, I would not like to pinpoint on something that I would like to see a change. There are a lot of informal business and transactions financially happening in our business earlier, which has become formalized now, which has become under control. So we would say that there's nothing called a parallel thing happening, like economy thing happening in our business, because the controls which is brought in by the government and the interlinking of banking structure, everything and all, which has streamlined so many things. So which could worry earlier about something which is not under our control, and because of that I am losing some business, because of that I'm losing some money. All the things getting more and more organized, I would say. So I mean, yeah, personally, there's nothing that I would like to pinpoint and say that I want to change, but I believe that things are changing for good, and I think it's getting better and better.
So every day new evolution happening, and you are obtaining with those new changes, and this is what
Absolutely.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, last question:
Yeah.
why anyone should choose Global Logistic instead of any other companies?
Okay. You asked me to give an elevator pitch, to be very.
So,
uh,
so basically,
yeah.
I wanted to understand, like why you are so every company is doing similar thing, right? They
Right.
all are managing paperwork, they all are connecting with, assets owner, all those things. So why you are different from others, and why we need company like you in industry where there are players already, established in industry?
See, I personally believe that the strongest way to sell your product in any industry or any part of the world or any particular commodity is through referrals. Why
Hmm.
would somebody refer my company to you if they didn't have a good experience? And
Hmm.
when you are exporting a commodity, let it be for 1 lakh rupees or let it be for 10 crore rupees, it has a very high value for you, because that's your money, that's your
Hmm.
commodity, and your whole reputation is dependent on that. Okay. Now, if somebody is referring Global Logistics, or they're saying call Naveen for your requirements, that means he's coming with an experience and he's putting his name behind it, right?
Hmm.
So I would definitely say that if you would like to work with Global Logistics, I would definitely give you a reference of my existing customers who
Hmm.
would say good or bad. I do not. I don't want to influence them, but I would give randomly 5 customer names from my list. You can talk to them and say, okay, can we? You working with them? Shall we also look at it? So I would say, my reason to work with Global Logistics is that we have 2,500 SME MSME customers working with us. So
Hmm.
why not you? So
So yeah, so basically you are serving so many people, and that's the best USP which you have, because you have
right,
already done the good work in industry, and people will definitely opt for you.
right, right.
Yeah, thank you so much, Naveen. So thank you for
Thanks a lot,
giving us
Pratik.
time, and great talking to you. Looking forward to have you on our platform once again in future,
Thank you. So
and where we
much.
can talk more.
I wish you the best as well, Pratik.
All right, guys. So if you really wanted to know that how this logistics works and how everything is works, you can check out our other podcast. And if you have anything related to transportation solution or supply chain solution, go check out Traqo link. We are delivering one of the best solution in industry to different companies. And yes, don't forget to subscribe this channel. Take care. Bye bye. See you in the next video.